Hello, pioneers. Inclusive excellence is an institutional commitment that helps us live out our mission-focused vision for social justice. By consistently pursuing inclusive excellence, we ensure that everyone in our community feels welcome, supported, and has a sense of belonging. Equity and inclusion are not passive concepts, they are active. This means we cannot sit idly and simply hope to get things right. Instead, our words must be met with action. In the SHU Office for Inclusive Excellence, the team has worked diligently to lead and support us on our perpetual journey to inclusive excellence. We are excited about our progress and hopeful for the meaningful change that is to come. But I must remind you that it is every pioneer's responsibility to keep us moving forward on our journey. Now, in his 2024 address on the state of inclusive excellence at SHU, please join me as we give our attention to our Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer, Maurice Nelson.
Hello, SHU family. It is my pleasure to greet you and present to you the 2024 State of Inclusive Excellence Address for Sacred Heart University. As a member of the Sacred Heart University community, I remain thankful for our mission-focused outlook on how we operate as an institution, which empowers inclusive excellence as a cornerstone to our institutional success. I want to extend my sincerest appreciation to President Patillo for his leadership and support for our institutional commitment to inclusive excellence. I also want to extend my gratitude to my senior staff colleagues and to our Board of Trustees for your commitment and support for this work. Inclusive excellence at SHU has continued to grow and evolve since the last State of Inclusive Excellence. And to that end, this address is designed to highlight where we are, how we got here, and where we're going on our pursuit for inclusive excellence. It is always my desire to be transparent, and within my transparency, I'm accountable for my responsibilities as SHU's Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer. Beginning with Multicultural Affairs, the Multicultural Center has worked to refine its existing programs and services while simultaneously expanding its reach. Moving into fall 2023 semester, the Office for Inclusive Excellence proudly launched the Mentors Advocating for Cultural Connections, or MAC Pioneers initiatives, through the Multicultural Affairs Department. MAC Pioneers is defined as a mentoring and student success initiative, which is designed to improve the retention, progression, graduation, or RPG, and sense of belonging for students with underrepresented identities. While the initiative has a particular interest in fostering cultural connections and other supports that are tailored to the experiences of students from minoritized backgrounds, MAC Pioneers invites and welcomes all pioneers to engage with this program. The MAC Pioneers initiative currently has 3 programs: Momentum, Umoja, and Sagrado Corazon. The MAC Pioneers program is a peer-to-peer and student-to-professional mentoring program. The design of the program is to connect first-year students, including transfer students, who have diverse identities and backgrounds with professionals and peers who have similar diverse identities and backgrounds. Undergraduate students are paired with upper-level undergraduate students, and graduate students are paired with professional staff and faculty. The upper-level students and professional mentors are called connectors, who serve as mentors that help students navigate their first year at Sacred Heart. The connectors share skills and strategies for successfully navigating the SHU academic, social, and cultural journey, as well as the post-graduation world. Throughout the academic year, connectors and mentees will build academic strengths, experience a community of peer and professional support, and develop meaningful relationships that support transformative academic, career, and life skills development. First-year mentees will gain a stronger sense of campus belonging, strengthen their academic expertise, and build long-term connections within the campus community through informal community building activities, cultural festivities, skills development intensives, academic workshops, career advisement, leadership training, connections with campus leadership, faculty and academic partnerships, and so much more. MAC Pioneers also houses two identity-based initiatives, Umoja and Sagrado Corazon. Both of these programs provide student support and cultural programming designed to enhance the experiences of Black and Hispanic and Latin American students, respectively. Our goal is to increase the strategic identity-based support to positively impact their sense of belonging as well as their RPG. Both programs have monthly meetings with various topics and guest speakers. Anyone in the SHU community is welcome to join the group. Students who do not identify with the respective groups are welcome, as programs also discuss allyship and advocacy. Both programs are designed to complement and provide support for our student-led identity-based clubs. MAC Pioneers Umoja and Sagrado Corazon seek to create access to cultural celebration through programs and events, academic support that considers cultural and other intersecting identities, culturally relevant wellness support and resources, leadership development, and a community of students, both undergraduate and graduate, staff, and faculty that identify with the Black, Hispanic, or Latin American identities. We expect and look forward to the growth of the Momentum, Umoja, and Sagrado Corazon programs of the MAC Pioneers initiatives during the 2024-2025 academic year. The Multicultural Center has continued its legacy of staple programming beginning in August 2023 with the Multicultural Kickback Summer Student Athlete Edition, the Cultural Cookout, Salsa Night partnership with La Hispanidad as a kickoff to Hispanic and Latin American Heritage Month, our Wisdom Wednesdays with the Vice President of Student Affairs and Veneral Shimbo, and Black Heritage Month staple events such as No You Can't Touch My Hair, Black Love Gala, and so much more. The Multicultural Center added new programs such as providing self-care kits at their self-care event to prepare for finals and also highlight mental well-being. In partnership with Athletic Student Academic Support, they hosted the More Than an Athlete program to discuss the layers of identity that athletes have beyond their sport. Continuing their partnership with Athletic Student Academic Support, they hosted the Locker Room Language program, where they discussed the impact of locker room culture and language and its correlation to student-athlete performance in their sports and beyond. Multicultural Affairs partnered with Campus Ministry on the Unheard Voices program, where they discuss non-traditional members of various religious groups to challenge assumptions about who is a part of any given religious or spiritual belief. They hosted a Social Justice Week event titled Let's Talk About It, an underrepresented student panel discussion with representatives from each cultural and identity-based organization who engaged about the experiences of underrepresented students in the Sacred Heart University community and how they navigate the challenges of amplifying their own voices throughout their Sacred Heart University experience. Multicultural Center partnered with Mission Integration to host Celebrating the Toussaint Name, an event inspired by a student who was a connector in our MAC Pioneers Momentum program. The event featured a cultural and historical Q&A with President Patillo and a discussion on why the Toussaint Hall name was named after Venerable Pierre Toussaint. The Multicultural Center collaborated with our Black Student Union and La Hispanidad student organizations for Caribbean Night to celebrate the various cultures and communities that are represented here on campus. This well-attended program attracted students from other universities, including Fairfield University, Southern Connecticut State University, and the University of Bridgeport. Also, to honor Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, the Multicultural Center collaborated with the Asian American Pacific Islander Student Club to host a dumpling making class for students to learn the cultural history and significance of cuisine in various Asian American cultures. The Multicultural Center culminated the semester with the annual year-end ceremony and graduation celebration. This event recognizes our graduating seniors and awards students who have consistently participated and engaged with the Multicultural Center throughout the academic year. During this event, students hear remarks from Multicultural Affairs staff and are donned with their multicultural graduation stoles. Multicultural Affairs is collaborating with Mission Integration, Graduate Student Affairs, and International Student Affairs to create and develop a calendar list of cultural, religious, and international holidays that can be displayed on the university's website. The landing page will live on the Office for Inclusive Excellence main page and will disseminate to other areas based upon their specific foci. Multicultural Affairs is partnering with Student Advising and Success to provide academic advising hours inside the Multicultural Center to support students through registration and to map out their academic journey for the fall or any other semester. Student Advising and Success visit the Multicultural Center every Tuesday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. to connect with students. Multicultural Affairs has partnered with the Center for Teaching and Learning to provide tutoring hours in the center throughout the academic year. Tutors will drop in at the center various times throughout the week for students to get immediate access to tutors. Multicultural Affairs partnered with the Career and Professional Development area this past semester to provide drop-in career resource hours. Many students have taken advantage of this partnership and love the ability to have easier access to career and professional development staff. As you may have gleaned, central themes for the Multicultural Center have been growth and collaborative partnerships. Thank you so much to Executive Director Rob Johnson, Assistant Director Felicia Jeter, and Graduate Assistant Kamoya Walters for their Multicultural Affairs and Multicultural Center leadership. In addition to the Multicultural Center, the Office for Inclusive Excellence also operates the SAID Center. In October 2022, we onboarded SHU's inaugural manager of LGBTQ+ affairs, Kyle Humphreys. In his role, Kyle also leads the Sexuality and Gender Equity Center, commonly known as the SAID Center. Upon his arrival, and only 3 days on the job, Kyle hosted our annual National Coming Out Day celebration event. This year's event welcomed Connecticut State Treasurer Eric Russell as our keynote speaker, with an introduction by Lambda Legal Representative John Strafstrom. Nicole Sperling from our Gender and Sexuality Alliance and Sage Sperling from our Pride student organization also spoke from the student perspectives. As always, the event was well received and attended by students, faculty, staff, administrators, and other community members. Through the SAID Center, Kyle has introduced several new programs and initiatives. SAID Center hosted Queer Sex Ed as a part of SHU Pride Week programming. The event welcomed Candace Pinthony, a community education manager with Triangle Community Center, who came to speak to students and answer anonymous questions. Also, as part of SHU Pride Week, the SAID Center hosted a watch party for the film Nimona, and students also engaged in GSA flag making activity that ran the entire day in the SAID Center. The center hosted other film screenings and discussions, including Rustin and Paris is Burning. Culminating Pride Week, the SAID Center hosted Transgender Day of Remembrance in the Chapel of the Holy Spirit. The emotional event acknowledged and remembered the names of each transgender person killed in the U.S. in 2023. Kyle read the names of each person along with their ages, how they are remembered, and how they died. And GSA students lit a candle for each person named. Reverend Sarah Smith also gave blessings. As part of the fan engagement calendar with athletics, January 25th was designated Pride Night. Athletics and SAID Center partnered for this Pack the Pit Pride Night event, and they provided handouts including hats, sunglasses, bandanas, pronoun pins, hand flags, swag, and heart stickers. They also played student interview videos about what playing in a Pride game means to them. The SAID Center partnered with Bullard Havens High School from Bridgeport to host their Pride Club for a campus visit, and their day began with a presentation from our admissions teams, followed by a presentation from Kyle about the Office for Inclusive Excellence here at Sacred Heart. The students got a brief campus tour, visited the mixtape exhibit, then Kyle discussed things to consider if they plan to pursue higher education, such as how to stay safe as an LGBTQ+ person on a college campus, finding your people, and making the best of your tuition. The visit concluded with lunch and a chat with the advisors about homophobia and transphobia from teachers and students, and ways to address those concerns. As part of Social Justice Week at SHU, SAGE Center hosted its first Women of Wall Street event, which featured 10 local women-owned businesses. The business set up a vendor fair near Linda's Fireplace, and there was excellent attendance, engagement, and participant feedback, and we hope next year's event will be bigger and better. Also honoring Women's History Month, the SAGE Center and Multicultural Center partnered to host the inaugural Women's Appreciation Reception. The SHU community nominated people for one of 3 awards, including Exemplary Leadership, Social Impact Scholar, and Equity Activist. And our winners were Jackie Gonzalez, Colleen Butler-Sweet, and Kiana Daniels, respectively. We were excited to welcome back our former Assistant Director of Multicultural Affairs, Anna Miendetta, as our keynote speaker for the event. Sage Center hosted the second annual Lavender graduation celebration in the West Campus East Building atrium. The event featured a blessing by Reverend Sarah Smith, a phenomenal keynote address by Tony Ferriola, the Director of Healthcare Advocates International's LGBTQ+ Youth and Family Program, end-of-year awards, and a presentation of certificates and Lavender graduation cords for undergraduate and graduate students. It was an outstanding celebration filled with love and kindness that was attended by students, faculty, staff, and administrators. In addition to Sage Center events, LGBTQ+ Affairs also houses our Gender and Sexuality Alliance. The GSA hosted a myriad of events and initiatives to include Queerientation, an annual event that introduces students to LGBTQ+ people and allies on campus, Queer Mixers in partnership with Pride and Lambda Delta Xi, flag making, game nights, karaoke nights, poetry and literature open mic nights, pen making, a program about coming out in a multicultural household, and so much more. These represent only a portion of the programs and initiatives hosted under LGBTQ+ Affairs through our Sage Center and GSA student group. Several times throughout the academic year, Kyle spoke to classes on a variety of topics pertaining to LGBTQ+ identity, often involving his experience with transition and acceptance. Kyle also chairs the LGBTQ+ Steering Committee, which is a subcommittee of the Institutional Inclusive Excellence Advisory Council. And to round out the many LGBTQ+ updates, I'm proud to share that Sacred Heart University earned a 4 out of 5-star rating on the Campus Pride Index. Campus Pride Index is a national LGBTQ+ friendly benchmark and repository of standards for inclusion in higher education, and it is described as an overall indicator of institutional commitment to LGBTQ+ inclusive policy, program, and practice. Upon submitting a comprehensive self-assessment, SHU earned its 4-star rating and is now featured in the Campus Pride Index Campus Search. The Campus Search tool is used by prospective students, families, and employees who want a third-party perspective on institution and work options that demonstrate LGBTQ+ inclusivity. However, I want to acknowledge that our score does not mean that every LGBT+ identified individual feels or experiences 4 out of 5 stars. However, our score is a good indicator that we are making great progress on our inclusive excellence journey, and it will only continue to improve. We still have work to do. We appreciate the professional and lived experience as well as the fervor that Kyle brings to his role and the SHU family as he leads LGBTQ+ affairs on our journey to inclusive excellence. In addition to our centers who provide much of our programs and initiatives, there is a robust load of inclusive work that happens in the background. Ann Burmeister, our Director of Institutional Equity Compliance and Support, has been hard at work leading our anti-discrimination, discriminatory harassment, and ADA 504 efforts for the institution. Ann partnered with Annette Sarusko to draft and implement our institution's first chosen name policy and procedures. The policy and procedures development process included collaboration with SHU stakeholders and implementers. Some resources include FAQs, the chosen name change form and instructions with insight on the associated workflow, resources on personal pronouns and faculty and staff guidelines, and continues to process requests and provide individual support. To date, we have processed 35 individual requests and provided specific support to 12 community members. Anna is working to continue creating community education around this policy and accessing its procedures. As we are now 1 year into the implementation of our anti-discrimination and discriminatory harassment policy and procedures, Ann has worked to refine and improve how we support these efforts to include a revision of our procedures. For example, Ann collaborated with student conduct in a review of case studies to refine procedures and safeguards to work more closely with the student conduct procedures. Additionally, she revised the discriminatory harassment definition to function as an umbrella term for Title IX discrimination claims without definition inconsistencies that vary depending on protected characteristics. Other policy updates includes revision to streamline our digital accessibility policy and procedures to make them functional standards for all SHU entities and reflect the changes in the Department of Justice and Department of Education guidance on digital accessibility standards. Policies and procedures for accommodation, grievance, and disability discrimination complaints were updated, including revisions to the existing policy to meet current Department of Education and Department of Justice guidelines, and the creation of procedures and standards for review and grievance determinations. And also consulted with other functional areas on updates and revisions to existing SHU policies, procedures, guidelines, and forms, including but not limited to academic catalogs, student handbook, student accessibility grievance policy, student accessibility housing appeal language, inclusive excellence website, information on managing bias, student life's community standards and prohibited conduct, legal intranet, employee complaint forms, SHU D1 weight room dress code, grade grievance policy and procedure, academic appeal procedures, and there are other revisions in progress. And also leads the university's Bias Education Support Team, also known as BEST. Throughout this foundational year for BEST, and organized a training and development program for the team in cultural intelligence, managing bias, and incident intervention skills. With leadership assistance from Dr. Deidre Price, BEST implemented working groups for the development of bias education modules, including understanding and managing bias, identifying and addressing microaggressions, and languages and symbols in our cultures. Additionally, and created governance and process for team incident educational interventions, drafted and circulated BEST confidentiality agreements, and created a process for reading in BEST members to cases, conducting meetings, reports, and follow-up. The BEST group has been phenomenal and working diligently during this foundational and transformational year for the restructured team. Much of Anne's work happens behind the proverbial scenes, but has profound impacts on the state of inclusive excellence at SHU, and we appreciate her commitment to this work. In addition to the education development from our BEST group, inclusive excellence education has been under significant development. Our Inclusive Excellence Academy is a suite of 15 modules and workshops. The curricula for the Academy are in the final stages of development, review, and piloting. I look forward to the official launch of the Inclusive Excellence Academy, which will be available to faculty, staff, and students. More information is forthcoming and will be available in the fall. Last year, I announced the inaugural Inclusive Excellence Faculty and Staff Fellows. The first cohort of fellows include Dr. Olalade Afolabi, Dr. Rebecca Bird, Dr. Mark Condon, Raheem Davis, Dr. Sugun Calvis, Dr. Katie Croper, Dr. Deidre Price, and Dr. Kaylee Tabor. The Inclusive Excellence Fellows have been hard at work on their cohort project, which include partnering with Human Resources and mission on an inclusive hiring guide and the development of a comprehensive inclusive engagement guide. Each fellow also engages in an individual project that is approved by me. Some projects include the development of an Inclusive Excellence dashboard and our next institutional Inclusive Excellence Campus Climate Assessment. Thank you to the fellows for their work thus far and that which is to come. Speaking of fellows, I'm honored to share that Sacred Heart University is now a member of the New England Board of Higher Education's North Star Collective. The North Star Collective is a part of NEPI's broader reparative justice initiative, which is committed to restoring, nourishing, and uplifting BIPOC faculty in the region, and supporting leaders as they transform institutions around racial equity. The North Star Collective offers the North Star Collective Faculty Fellowship, a semester-long fellowship created by BIPOC faculty for BIPOC faculty in New England. Grounded in tenets of reparative justice, the fellowship promotes racial trauma healing by providing a nourishing community of care, mentorship, and professional development for Black, Indigenous, and people of color faculty in all fields. The fellowship provides a support network for BIPOC faculty to help navigate the challenges they face in their academic careers, promote mental wellness and health, and foster a community of care for fellows' holistic well-being. SHU is represented in the North Star Collective's BIPOC Faculty Fellowship by our very own Dr. John Itzawino, Assistant Professor of Psychology, and Dr. S.W., Assistant Professor of Management. Both fellows spoke of an amazingly supportive experience, and we look forward to others engaging in this opportunity through our North Star Collective institutional membership. The organizational structure of the Office for Inclusive Excellence is small but mighty, and we are slated to grow again over the summer with the addition of the Manager of Inclusive Excellence Initiatives role, which will provide administrative and project coordination support for the entire unit. That search process is underway, and we look forward to onboarding that team member this summer. I'm working with a few other senior leaders to develop the first Staff Development Institute for SHU staff, which we hope to finalize and announce very soon. And albeit delayed, the Office for Inclusive Excellence partnered with Human Resources to launch identity-based employee resource groups. Now, the launch for SHU ERGs was postponed, but it is slated for September of this year. Listen, I hope that you can sense my excitement and pride for everything we've done and everything that is to come in the name of inclusive excellence. But I am under no illusion that we don't still have a significant journey ahead of us. There is so much work to be done, and we will continue to make progress. That said, I'm extremely excited to announce the Pioneer Plan for Inclusive Excellence, Sacred Heart University's inaugural strategic plan for diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. Approved by the senior leadership team on March 20th, this comprehensive plan has a lifespan of 5 years and is comprised of 5 overarching vision imperatives or pillars, which are belonging, diversity, access, education, and development. Each imperative is expounded by secondary strategies and tertiary action items. The plan is being prepped for dissemination, and the full announcement and delivery of the plan is coming this fall. As we celebrate the distance we've traveled and acknowledge our gaps, it is critical that we move from paper to action on many other areas, and this plan will guide us in those efforts. As I conclude this address on the state of inclusive excellence at SHU, I want to point out that this overview is not exhaustive. In addition to the more intricate details of the work done by the Inclusive Excellence team, many of our faculty, staff, and students are advancing inclusive excellence principles throughout the university through their initiatives and advocacy. If I left anything out, as I often say, please charge it to my head and not my heart. Thank you for your confidence in my leadership, for your consistent support, and for my own sense of community and belonging that I've felt since joining the Pioneer family. To that end, I want to re-emphasize my commitment and dedication to this work. And in the words of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity founder Jewel Vertner Woodson Tandy, I will continue to fight until hell freezes over, then fight on the ice. Thank you so much for your time and attention, and go Pioneers.